Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it is Wednesday, July the 24th. We had a really good downtrend today. We've got a wider channel, but it's one of these deals where you just kind of got these little layers down through here. And I don't know what the deal is lately, but we seem to be getting a lot of that. First, I thought it was this was going to be the bigger channel, but we went on through there, and then you can see that one kind of held. Then we got back inside this one, we rotated to the top, moved back into the middle. We tried to go lower here, but just couldn't. There's too much buying down there, and then now we've been kind of working in this top, and we're really back in a bigger trading range similar to this one over here now. And that's what's been going on the last little bit. But let me back up here and we'll go over each trade. We started out in this uptrend this morning. We had a break. This was a second entry long, so a nice place to get long. And there was a little trap here too, but if you waited on that one, you were too late and you probably got in trouble on that trade. But I entered on this second entry right here, and it was we got enough for the scalp, but nothing more. And then it was off to the races. It looked like it was going to be a trading range day, but we had this little breakout pull back short right here. I was hesitant to enter here, but by that time I figured this was where the lows were going to be, even if we were having a trading range. So pretty quick move down, and you actually could have even considered entering in here, but by that time, after two little short pushes, I just didn't think it was going to do this. I really don't see that as being a very good place to enter. Short or long, but you see it would have worked out, but there's just not a good setup there. And definitely not here, because I really thought that was going to be the low of the channel at that point. And my headphones, my microphone is beeping, my battery's going to die, so I'm going to have to rush on through this, or we're not going to have a chart lesson today. But this I looked at as a breakout pullback short. If you look, you had your lows across here, and you can see we broke lower, turned back down. But what I really liked about this one was I kind of looked at this as a failed second entry long. It really is a failed second entry long, because we had a first entry right there and then a pullback in a second entry. But it was right off of this suspected shorter term trend line. You can see it working down through there, and it was holding prices. And didn't expect it to take off like that, but man, what a nice move. So you got some runners here, depending on how you managed them, if you used runners. And then again, you had another second entry short right here, just a two-legged pullback to this trend line, to this channel, the lower side of the channel, what I thought was a channel at that point, and then down it goes again. And another easy move. But then we were kind of stuck in this range, and so I switched over to the range rules here. This is a failed second entry long that turns back down. It's a double top. It's a bearish reversal bar right at the top, and it took it a little bit to move on down, but it goes right where you think. And you really could have bought here, but since it was such a bearish move, I kept thinking we were going to break on through here. So I just thought it was risky to buy, but you can see you could have bought down here, but there's not really a good setup till here. There's probably still room to get out, but I just don't like that setup. Then we failed out the top side, came right off the upper side of the channel with a nice bearish bar. We ended up with 3 overlaps and a doji. So I drew that one in green, but because of the way it's setting up, and you can see that's a nice two-legged move back to the trend line. So on a bigger picture, that's a nice second entry with a bearish reversal bar. So if you took that, there's nothing wrong with that trade. It's a little more aggressive because off of this low, it's a first entry. But then you got the trap here, the second entry, and then you had a failed second entry long that had so you really had them trapped there. And of course, this is the one that goes straight on through and drops on down. And you could have ridden, either one of any of these entries. Actually, they might have got your stop on this one. But on this second entry, on this entry here and this entry, you could have ridden your runners all the way down. And so I kind of had a double setup there. And this was a really nice trade, and then we went into this, and so I exited. I meant to draw this one in green, and I didn't change it. But this is a breakout pullback short, but we're so close to these lows right here that there's a chance you could bounce off of that. But needless to say, it's still a breakout pullback short. Maybe that's why I left it red, but I think I meant to make it green. And it was an easy scalp, and then we bounced. And then you get a failed second entry long right there again. So then I figure, hey, we're going to test these lows again. It was an easy scalp, but we didn't go any lower. And then you had a second entry short right here. I believe, let me just see if you entered below. There's not a good setup here. The fact that we're bouncing off this line so many times, even if you entered below this one, I don't think you would have survived. The only way, I didn't like this setup because I really felt like we were overdue for a pullback. We never really pulled back and tested this. And this turned into a trap. But if you got trapped short there, you got to exit when it reverses here. And this is a failed second entry short in a downtrend. So, but it was such a good trap at a low there that I liked it. And even though it seems like a counter trend trade, we did have the break of this little channel here, and you can see there were like two levels in that channel. We had the break and then two legs down and then the failed second entry. So I liked it to the upside. I really thought we might rally out of here then, but you can see we've still fought. The selling has just been really strong. So needless to say, that's what I was looking at. And we really had a failed second entry short here too. So you might have even thought about going long right there. But it's getting so close to this trend line, and we hadn't had a break of the bigger one yet. I just didn't really like it. But you can see the break of that line too, of this little channel, and the retest. I thought we might go a little bit higher, but we couldn't get through that trend line yet. And so that's a great place to short. Again, it moves pretty quickly, but it comes back, and we're just really finding support down here. So it was dangerous. Once you start to get like this, every short gets a little more dangerous, because look what happens eventually, and you can see it starting to make higher lows here. So that's really telling you something, and we did get outside the trend line. But that's what I saw. Actually, I don't know if I talked about this trade. First entry, second entry, another reversal bar right off that trend line. You can't ignore that. And they almost shook me out of this one. I really didn't even want to take this trade. Actually, I didn't take this trade. It was this one they almost shook me out. But this one I just marked at the end here. I didn't take this trade. I apologize. I got mixed up with this trade. But they almost shook me out of this trade when it didn't close on its low here. What I did was just dropped a limit order in there, and it started trying to work higher, and I almost let them shake me out of it, but I said, no, I'm going to hang on, and of course it did work out okay. And then this one, I just noticed a minute ago when I came back to do the chart lesson, and I added that trade. So, and that's a second entry long. It's another bearish one. It's a lower high. Notice those three lower highs. So you couldn't ignore it, and it was an easy scalp. And they might have done you the same way here. They might have tried to shake you out, but you can see it went on down and worked out pretty easy. So, but you got to be careful. And I get a lot of notes from people that they take these trades and then prices back up a little bit on them, and they let them shake you out. And I always say you're better safe than sorry, but at the same time, that's going to happen from time to time, especially on bigger bars and ones that aren't really bearish. It didn't close on its low, so the smarter traders are going to wait for a trigger and try to drop a limit order in there, which is what I do a lot of times. And that's the only way you want to really enter on those, because if you don't, you enter down here and then you don't have room to get out. So you want to try to improve your entry a little bit, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And I just don't have time to go into much more details because I am losing my volume, and I hope I haven't lost it. And then I did have volume through this whole video, but I'll be back to do this again tomorrow. I'm going to wrap it up today. Great downtrend. You just got to look for places to sell and follow the rules, and it's really not hard at all to trade on a day like this if you're following the rules. It's going to keep you on the right side. It's going to put you in at the right places. And one thing I told another trader today is that don't try to counter trend this unless you get a really good trap like this one right here. And the reason is because you can make mistakes entering with the trend, and you can still make money, but you can't make mistakes counter trend trading, because you try to get long here and things like this happen to you. So you can be a little bit wrong if you're on the right side of the market. You can be a little bit early or even a little bit late a lot of times. But if you're early or late counter trend trading, you may get burned big time. So just keep that in mind, something as a, something additional to chew on today as a learning opportunity. Always try to trade with the trend on trend days like this. And until you get a confirmed trend line going in the other direction, don't switch sides. But I'm going to wrap it up. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.